know the leprechaun. Tiny green suit, ginger beard, buckled hat, a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, grinning at you from a box of cereal. Adorable, harmless, lucky, and almost entirely wrong. The real leprechaun of Irish folklore was a solitary, ill-tempered, red-coated trickster that you very much did not want to meet, so let's go and meet him. In Irish folklore, the leprechaun is a type of fairy, not the cute, winged, Tinkerbell sort. Irish fairies, the Aos Siada, are something older and stranger, said to be the diminished remnants of the Tuatha De Danann, the godlike people who ruled Ireland before humans arrived, driven underground and shrunk down into the spirits of the hills and the old forts. The leprechaun is the solitary kind. He keeps to himself, avoids other fairies, and has one very specific job. He is a shoemaker, a cobbler. And in the old stories, you don't see a leprechaun first, you hear him. The faint tap, tap, tap of a tiny hammer, mending a single shoe, somewhere deep in the hedgerow. The name itself probably comes from the old Irish word luchorpan, meaning roughly small body, which, as far as fairy names go, is refreshingly honest. Now, the green. There was no green. For most of his history, the leprechaun wore red. A red coat, often described with 7 rows of 7 buttons. A red hat. The 19th century Irish folklorists who first wrote these creatures down, men like Thomas Crofton Croker, describe a little man in red. Not green. So where did the green come from? America. As the leprechaun became the mascot of Irish-American identity and St. Patrick's Day, he was quietly recolored to match the shamrock and the wearing of the green. The cereal box did the rest, 500 years of red, painted over in a single century. He'd be furious. He generally was. Here's the part everyone half remembers. Catch a leprechaun, and he must grant you wishes, usually 3, and it's true, in the folklore, if you seize him, he'll bargain for his freedom, often by revealing where his gold is buried. But this is where it goes wrong. The leprechaun is a trickster, and he is cleverer than you. The rule is simple and merciless. You must never take your eyes off him. Not for a second. So he will do anything to make you look away. He'll shout that there's a bull charging up behind you. He'll offer a better deal. He'll point at something over your shoulder. And the instant your eyes flick away, he's gone, along with your 3 wishes and your dignity. There's an old story of a man who forces a leprechaun to show him the exact bush where the gold is buried. He has no spade, so he ties his red garter around the bush, makes the leprechaun swear not to touch it, and runs home for a shovel. He comes back to find every single bush in the field wearing an identical red garter. You have to respect the commitment. And the leprechaun has relatives, each one worse than the last. There's the clurichaun, essentially a leprechaun who has stopped working and started drinking. He hunts wine cellars and pubs, guards the casks, and if you treat him well, he'll protect your stock. Treat him badly, and he'll wreck the place and sour every barrel you own. Ireland effectively invented the haunted off license. Then there's the far dearg, the red man, a far nastier piece of work. A fairy whose idea of a good time is grim practical jokes that slide straight into nightmares. And one quiet, genuinely strange detail. In the traditional lore, there are no female leprechauns. None. They are all male, all solitary. Which leaves one fairly obvious, completely unanswered question. Where do new leprechauns come from? The folklore politely declines to say. Probably for the best. So how did this surly, solitary, red-coated trickster end up a smiling cereal mascot? 2 big culprits. In 1959, Walt Disney released a film full of charming, twinkly leprechauns that softened the whole idea for a global audience. Then in 1964, an American serial handed the world a cheerful little green leprechaun, whose entire personality was protecting his breakfast. And that was that. The trickster spirit of the Irish hills, a creature people once genuinely feared and respected, was rebranded into a marketing logo in the space of a few short decades. The oldest written reference to these beings, by the way, is over 1,000 years old, a medieval Irish tale in which tiny water sprites drag a sleeping king out to sea, from kidnapping kings to selling cereal. Quite the career. So this St. Patrick's Day, When you spot the grinning little fella on the green bunting, spare a thought for the real leprechaun. Solitary, red-coated, sharp-tongued, sitting in a hedgerow, mending one shoe and quietly plotting how to trick you out of your wishes. If you enjoyed having another childhood icon gently dismantled, subscribe. Next time, the banshee, and why her scream was the last thing you ever wanted to hear. Mind yourself.